Back here for another ETBU Sports Coaches Show with Kenneth the K-Rock Klein and Mark T. Robinson, and this time we're going to be talking volleyball with head coach Keely Peterson. Coach Peterson, you went on a long road trip the last time, went out to the always famous Alpine, which is kind of on the other side of the stage, to say the least. Came away with a victory out of that, but also two hard-fought matches, which unfortunately you couldn't pull out wins. But just kind of talk about the overall experience of just going on that long road trip.
Well, this was my first time as a player or a coach, my time being a part of the ETBU program, ever making that trip. So it was a first for me. But most of the girls, it was a first as well. So, when we got on the road, it was kind of strange. We're kind of a movie watching team, and we didn't watch a single movie. We slept the whole way, which was kind of nice. But we stopped, in Midland, and luckily the Midland College staff is really, really nice, and they let us use their gym. So we got to get off, our heinies on the road a little bit and, touch a ball for a little while. And then we got back on the road, and 14 hours later, we made it, and, we were ready to go for our games the following morning. But it was a long trip for sure. It's got its own little challenges, and, it's not an easy trip. That's 100%. You kind of lag a little bit, and their court is by far the coldest gym I've ever been in. It was freezing in there the first game, and so that also brought a new test, and with playing there, and it was just really a unique experience overall. But the trip is over, and we're heading on back. We're back, and we're ready to play.
Absolutely, Coach. And just kind of talk to me some of the things you took away. As far as the game goes from the trip. This is your first time. You said this was your first time going out to Sul Ross with your team and participating in that tournament in that location. So just kind of talk about some of the things that you learned, or some of the things that your team can build on after this type of trip.
Well, I think something we need to improve on is just, how do you handle a long trip? Because conference tournament this year is on the West as well. So, we're going to be going somewhere over there for conference tournament. We should be. While we're there, and understanding, the different types of hurdles that come up with a long trip. Homework is always a big test on those girls' mind. They're always freaking out about, when do we do our homework, and how to handle that when we're on the road. And it's not that we haven't taken road trips before. It's just, it's a little later, school's starting to get a little more hectic. So these kind of road trips later in the season, that really starts to weigh in on them. But also just being able to understand, you got to get up and get moving. And in the morning, yes, you had that long trip, and you kind of have that, almost jet lag. It's not really jet lag, but, when you go on a long trip, the next day is kind of like your recovery day. So how do you adjust to that more quickly when you don't necessarily get a day off, once you get there? And, most of our freshmen, I think, need to work on that. And, we had a couple girls sick this weekend. Strep came and, took its toll on our team. And hopefully we're out of the woods there now. But, so we had some different people playing in different positions. At one point, I took Bailey Bias and put her back in the middle. And it was kind of fun watching her play in the middle a little bit. But, we love seeing her on the right side. So, we move people around, and it was nice to see that we still have other options, and we have things that we can do that are a little bit more or less unexpected, and we can practice more of those a little more frequently now. Now that we've kind of seen that those are options that we can do, and we're excited to kind of get back and be home and kind of get back into our normal, and just really spend a little bit more time closer to home. We don't have another road trip until I believe we go to Conway, so a far road trip at least. So that's exciting.
Well, you go from the longest road trip of the season to the shortest road trip of the season, about 30 minutes or so, because tomorrow you're actually going to go down to Longview to take on crosstown rival Letourneau University. Well, technically not crosstown, but it feels like they're our neighbors. So, but going to Longview to take on Letourneau University, they kind of have an improved team from what you saw last year. So just kind of talk about the challenges that you could be expecting to see from them, especially on their home court.
Well, one, it's always difficult to go and play at Letourneau. It's got its own unique little set of obstacles. It's a smaller gym, but their fans are crazy. They get out there and they just really support, and they scream and holler, and they're just kind of catty, and it's kind of fun. It's a fun environment, but, for a freshman coming in, it could be a little intimidating. But, we're excited to go. Ashley their head coach, she's done a really good job of bringing in some top-notch recruits, and she's got a freshman on the outside that's just really kind of running it and is going to be a huge factor for them for the next 4 years, or continuing through these 4 years. So, she's doing some really great things there. That program is really starting to turn a leaf, and you're starting to see things with them that are just really kind of exciting. So, on that side, obviously, not so much exciting for me, but it's always fun to compete with Letourneau. It's like you said, kind of a sort of a crosstown rivalry thing, and we're excited to go and have a great match, and we know things coming off this weekend, things we need to continue to work on, and that's what we'll be doing today in practice.
What are some of the things going into that matchup with Letourneau that you specifically want to see out of your team? You were saying that you should have the core of your team back after battling, some sicknesses here and there. But what are some of the things you want to see out of your team?
Well, we want to see quickness with our middles. We've been working a lot on different connections and really speeding up our offense. So we have one of the quicker offenses, I think, more now currently this year with speeding up everything. We worked really hard this spring. So, focusing more on that and making sure that when we're in system that everything's very quick. We run a triple quick offense with an outlet in the back row. So making sure that our back row is ready to go and that our middles are always up and ready to swing at a ball. We've adjusted our blocking a little bit too to make it more effective. So just making sure that we're executing with our block. And then serve receive is always a big one. That's one area we kind of faltered within the past week or so. We started seeing at UTD that our, not really UTD, at UT Tyler, that our serve receive is starting to break down a little more. And it's been our strength lately. So that's an area that we always focus on and make sure that we're ready to go. So.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck to you this weekend as you take on, or tomorrow, I should say, as you take on Letourneau University. Stick around. We're going to talk more. We'll have head coach Eric Solberg of ETB Women's Soccer after this.